So you want to get good at jump force, huh? Well, I'm here to tell you guys how to get from D5 to S5. Now guys, I will be going into some pretty deep detail here, so if you are already in A5 or above, things you might obviously already know will come up in this video, but maybe you don't know some things, so I would recommend watching the whole thing. Now to get good at jump force, first we need to understand the type of playstyles that surround the jump force game and community and what playstyle caters to you. Now you may go through this video and see your playstyle not in here. That is completely fine. I am just naming the basic playstyles I have seen throughout the jump force ranking system. First we have the solo carry. This is a person that likes to use their best character and only that character, with the exception of having a compatible assist to back them up. They know everything there is to know about their character, including when certain lights and heavies can connect with abilities, and they are not safe after using one, and they can land their ultimate, pretty much have an understanding about all their character's strengths and weaknesses. Next we have one of my personal favorites, the one-hit wonder, otherwise known as I like big ass combos. Now these players typically rely on getting their awakening all the way or mostly full. After they use it, they already have their combo in mind, they're just trying to find that one opening in their match. Whether that opening is a grab into ult or just need to land one heavy or ability / assist, these players are trying to end the round in one combo. Next up we have the Brawler, and the Brawler usually uses characters like Luffy, Hisoka, Kenshin, pretty much any character that can do two lights into an ability. The goal of the Brawler is to destroy you mentally by constantly switching and staggering you while landing 1 meter abilities. Sometimes they may even raw ult you just to make sure you are constantly under pressure. So guys, there are other playstyles, but in my opinion these are the ones that you need to master to become an S5. Most S5 players can play and adapt to these playstyles anytime they want, and that's what makes them so good at the game. So guys, now that you know what the goal is, we need to master something. As a salty YouTuber once said, they're not good at the game, they've just mastered the crappy mechanics. That didn't really make much sense to me because that's how you master games, is by mastering the mechanics. So I'm going to try and teach you guys every little mechanic I know about and how to use it, starting with the most important one, chasing. So guys, chasing is one of the most important mechanics you should know about. If you master it, it can provide you with constant pressure over your opponent. And if you didn't know, there's technically 3 ways of chasing. The first one is the regular dashing. Either react or predict when your opponent is going to escape and press the dash button. This should leave you with particles around you while staggering your opponent so you can follow up with a huge combo. Now let's say you miss the dash opportunity, you still have 2 more options. The first one is down tilting. If you didn't know, switching from just pressing the square to tilting the thumbstick down resets the tracking of your attacks. Now most characters, down tilts will let you follow up with a combo, however some don't. So know which characters do this before trying it in ranked. Now the third option is the up tilt. Normally up tilts are not used for this, but because it's an option, I'm going to show it to you guys. So same thing with the down tilt, the only problem is it pushes your opponent away. However, some characters' ultimates can connect with up tilts, so again, do your research. Now hopefully you know you can charge your up tilts and down tilts. They are good for guard breaking and just in general good. Now if you land either an up tilt or a down tilt, you have a few options. After landing a charged down tilt, you can jump and you will follow your opponent. Right when you get to them, use a heavy and you'll slam them to the ground. You can follow up with a nice combo. You may also jump and spam square if you'd like. This does, however, give your opponent a chance to high speed counter. For Goku's sake, he can Kamehameha while doing this, so it's up for preference. Now the up tilts are generally the same thing, however the timing is a little trickier if you want to do the heavy. But you also may just walk up and do some lights, or jump and do some lights in the same way. Now one of the hardest mechanics in the game to master is the instant transmission. I don't think it actually has a name, so I'm just going to call it that. This is where you hold your square button while either jumping or on the ground and timing it perfectly to disappear and reappear near your opponent. This can be used for many things, such as getting past Aizen's wall or to hit an opponent that's using a countering ability, and even dodging ultimates. Now each character's timing is different, so explore and train and make sure you do it until you can't do it wrong anymore, because it's a very hard mechanic to master and do in game. Now one of the hardest mechanics in the game to master is the instant transmission. I don't think it actually has a name, so I'm just going to call it that. This is where you hold your square button while either jumping or on the ground and timing it perfectly to disappear and reappear near your opponent. This can be used for many things, such as getting past Aizen's wall or to hit an opponent that's using a countering ability, and even dodging ultimates. Now each character's timing is different, so explore and train and make sure you do it until you can't do it wrong anymore, because it's a very hard mechanic to master and do in game. Alright guys, another mechanic to master is dashing. Now dashing might seem simple, and it is, but there's a few things you can do that you might not know about. First off, you can jump and dash forwards and backwards. You may also cancel a jump dash by pressing backwards and then dashing again toward them if needed. This is to bait out things like Cell Shield or anything like that. You can hold off the thumbstick to the left and right while dashing to have an angle, maybe to dodge some abilities or get around Aizen's wall. Now this dash is something that really isn't helpful, but I've dodged ultimates with it, and I guess I'll call it the super dash or something. So if you dash and then tilt right and press the guard at the same time, you will move very far across the map to the right. Like I said, don't try hard to use this in actual games, but I have dodged ultimates with this before, and if you find a way to use it to further your gameplay, awesome. I'd love to know how you did it. Now you can just jump and dash back. This is normally used for just relieving pressure. I wouldn't really recommend doing it because you can get caught with abilities and everything, but that's just something else to know. Some little tricks you can do is also dashing up to your opponent and holding charge can maybe get them. Doing it on the ground, coming out, with a charge can surprise some people. You can also do it with the charged light coming in, put them in the air. It's really up to preference, but there's a lot of things you can do with dashes that a lot of people don't know about. Dashing and using an assist right before you dash is a great way to bait out an opponent. Maybe they're going to grab, maybe they're going to use an ability. However, it's just a good way to bait out an opponent. You can also use dashing to dodge grabs and after failed ultimates. If they're usually an opponent will grab you can also dash back to try and dodge it. So guys, I know this is a small one, but when you lift your opponent in the air and you hit them once, you can dash, and then after hitting them once, you can switch to another character, and you should be able to follow up after that. Practice the timing on that, guys. I know it's a small one, but I'm trying to give any advice I can to any players so we can get to S5 here. Alright guys, we are now going to talk about how to break someone's guard. And no, I don't mean how to break someone's guard literally. I'm talking about the options you have when an opponent is guarding. First, there's always the standard throw. Remember to figure out after what lights can your character throw. Some throw animations mix in with the lights in certain cases, basically meaning that it looks like the light combo. Remember, never throw after a heavy, it's just too slow. Another way to break your opponent's guard is to literally break their guard. Now there's a couple ways of doing this. My recommendations is to just find the best spot in the lights or heavies combo where it looks like it's part of the combo. Clearly, it will be, there's a little startup time so your opponent will be able to dodge. However, if you find the right timing, sometimes they won't be able to react in time and you can guard break them. Now something high level players do is what we call vanishing, and it's while you're attacking an opponent, you double tap X or you just hit the jump button and you go backwards and move forward whichever direction you are tilting your analog stick. You can stay in one place or you can move behind them or in front of them. This is just something you can do to confuse your opponent and leaves you with lots of options. So most opponents, when you're playing them, they try and backstep or grab while they are defending you. Most players will try and backstep. So that's what the vanish is for. Some things you can do with it is vanish back and then dash, and you'll actually dash attack them and catch them before they can dash away. You can get their combo going. The vanish is also a great tool to dodge ultimates. So let's say your opponent is awakened or you are about to die from a sliver of health and they have ultimate and you just happen to be wailing on them and they're guarding. Well, if you vanish at a good time and they spam ultimate, because most of the time opponents will spam ultimate because they think you're going to grab or they're going to guard break you. But if you vanish away and they ult, you should be safe from that ultimate. Another thing I love to do is just use your abilities after your 3 heavies. Most of the time an opponent won't expect an ability after the 3 heavies and will think it's their turn to attack you and therefore being hit by the ability. Now guys, normally you can't break someone's guard if you have an assist out. It will just, do the animation, but it won't actually do anything. Well, we can take what we learned earlier from the instant transmission and use it to break their guard, even when we have an assist out. If you combine it with vanishes while vanishing away, calling an assist and jumping or staying on the ground and doing the instant transmission, it can really lead up to some fun new combos. Alright guys, now the next mechanic is something that you guys probably all want answers to, and that is the high speed counter and the high speed dodges. Now guys, I can't really teach you this. All I can do is offer up some advice. You guys need to go out there and practice and quick play a ranked. But for high speed dodges, you just need to press the guard button right as they're about to attack you. You will vanish from them and go behind them. Be wary because they can do the same thing again, and remember this does take stamina, so eventually one of you guys will run out of stamina and you'll have to rely on high speed counters. Now high speed counters, guys, I never knew really how to do them until lately. I used to actually spam the square button and it usually worked for me. So to be honest, that's my advice. If someone's hitting you a bunch of times, just spam square, okay? Eventually, you'll feel the muscle memory and you'll understand the timing. The best thing I can tell you right now is I do understand the timing now, but you just have to press the button a little before the attack is actually about to hit you. Remember, each character's timing is different for these high-speed dodges and high-speed counters. You just need to keep playing the game, and eventually you'll understand all characters' timing and their attacks. Most of the time, this kind of stuff happens in the air, but it can happen during ground fights. Most examples of this are if an opponent is about to hit you with their first light and you high-speed dodge, it kind of slows down the arena, and then you have a chance to attack him, and then he can still high-speed dodge. My advice is if you high-speed dodge that first light is to use an ability or walk up and grab. It's something high-level players do just to avoid all the high-speed dodging and all that crap. Guys, another mechanic is the arena change, and it's not something so big, but it's something important because it does very important things. First thing is it drains your opponent's awakening gauge, which is a really nice thing. The second thing is it can switch your opponent's main character out on the floor, and usually it will let you follow up another combo with him. But if you didn't know, during the arena change, it gives you a second to think of something to do, whether that's pressing light or holding down the heavy, or just pressing heavy or pressing light, or use an ability if the character can use an ability in the air. There's a lot of different things you can do, and you can call an assist during all that things. Alright guys, now it's time to understand assists and how they can help you and how just not to use them in the way you're probably using them. So starting off simple, if you're being attacked and you escape, calling in an assist is a great way to defend yourself. If they chase or follow up a combo, getting that assist out will provide great cover. If you switch and it hits your opponent, notice how your opponent will stagger and you can come up with a combo or ability. If it's an ability fast enough, you can do a lot of things with that. You used to be able to grab after switch and hitting them. I don't think you can do it anymore. I don't know if it's just something wrong with my game, but I'm pretty sure you can no longer do this switch and grab. And you can use this staggering component of switching to actually leave an opening for an ability. So if I want to stagger him right there, notice how he staggered, and now Meteor Rush or Spirit Breaker now landed. A lot of people do this with Yugi and or certain other characters. You can also use an ability after you switch. So if I press the switch button, I can use Gatling Gun and it hit, and I can follow up a combo here and do whatever I want. Also, if you manage to put your opponent in the air, you're gonna have to train for this, but you can call an assist during it, and most of the time they will land, and you can follow it up with a combo or any of sorts. Like I said, you will have to train. You have to find out which characters can actually do this with each other, but mostly you want to call the assist after the first, or if you're considering this, the second light right there. Let's say you hit your opponent with an ability that shoots them far away, and you can switch right here. You have two options. One, you can spam square in the air after you switch and hitting them. Or the second option is to heavy in the air right here. You're gonna have to practice timing for different characters too, but you bring them down and you can continue the combo. You can also use the switch to stagger your opponent mid-air to land an ability. I do this with Yugi all the time. Alright guys, now this isn't technically an assist, but it uses your two other characters, and it's another good mechanic, and that is the Team Awakening. Now to Team Awakening, you just need to be hitting your opponent even if they're guarding, and press your right analog stick. You go into Team Awakening, and what I recommend is finding people that can actually combo after your Team Awakening. So here with Ichigo and Kenshiro and Kakashi comes over, hits him, and I can get a good freaking giant blade off after that. Don't know what that's called, Pierce of Heavens, whatever. I recommend using this when you are very close to killing your opponent and you have any type of awakening. You don't need to be at full awakening to use this. Use it and your opponent might be caught off guard. They might be waiting to escape. When you use it, you get a full awakening. It does do a little less damage than a regular awakening if you were to stand here and awaken. But it still does good damage and is a good way to catch your opponent off guard. Now guys, you can use this to guard break, however, I don't really consider it honorable. However, it's in the game, so do with it as you please. It's not technically guard break cheese because it looks like it's a real thing in the game here. You know, it's put in there for a reason, so use it how you like. However, be careful because if you do use it and the opponent has ult, if they have like a Kamehameha or a Final Flash or something, they have a split second to spam that and they can get your two characters in that and you'd be dead pretty much. You can also use Team Awakening to reset your assist. What I mean by this is if you use an assist and hit and use Team Awakening, you can actually call in the same assist again and it will work. Now, it's up to you to figure out what kind of strengths and weaknesses you can do with this, any type of combos you can do, but I've seen some fun ones. But that's up for you guys, so have fun exploring that. You can also use Team Awakening during arena changes or anytime in the air. Pretty much anytime you are hitting your opponent, you can use the Team Awakening here. Now guys, I did miss something in the dashing part of the video. Pretty much what happens is if you lift your opponent in the air, instead of doing the full-on air combo, if you hold down on your analog stick and press the square button, you'll actually hit them right away on the ground on the first one instead of the second one. Things to use this for is if you're running out of time and you need to do more damage, if you don't feel comfortable or if you don't feel confident in your air battles. I've done something like this to where I switch and hit him on the ground. I try and ult, and sometimes it connects, but this won't connect right here. There's a lot of things you can try and do with it. It's a very small mechanic, but if you can figure out the best way to use it, I'd be glad to know. Alright guys, next we're going to be talking about how to get out of a sticky situation, meaning when your opponent is hitting you and you are guarding, the options you have, what you can do. First off, if your opponent likes to grab when they're hitting you with lights and you're guarding, well, you have two options. One, you can backstep twice, or you can grab also. What this does is it creates a grab reset, and it puts you both in a neutral position. So most of the time when you do a grab reset, the other person or yourself, if you're spamming it, might grab again, and it gives you time to actually start up a combo of your own. Be careful, because if you're the person that is spamming grab and you grab twice, you're going to leave yourself open to either an ultimate or ability or any type of combo. Another thing you can do is just raw ult. If someone's hammering on you with a bunch of lights or trying to use an ability and just ult, eventually there'll be a little space that you can ult and grab in. Now be careful, because if your opponent realizes this, if you do it too much, they're going to vanish, they're going to start guarding, they're going to hit you a couple times, they're going to go 1-2, then guard or something like that, and you will miss your ult. Another thing you can do is also try and use a ability that's really fast, kind of like you're spamming your ultimate, but you're spamming your ability. If there's an opening, your ability will go through. However, be careful, if they grab, your ability might not be fast enough for that. However, Cell's Perfect Shield is an exception. But if they try and guard break you or charge guard break you, your ability will hit. If you have a character with a counter, feel free to spam that. Be careful again though, if they decide to grab, you will get grabbed. However, if they decide to do a charge or if they do a third heavy, your counter will get them. Also, if your character has a very fast grab, someone like Ichigo, if they're doing a charge guard break, most of the time, I'm pretty sure most of the time, you will be able to grab them out of that and you'll get your space. Alright guys, that is all I have for you today. Now remember, just knowing this stuff will not get you the S5. You need to practice, you need to play, you need to develop your skills. It all comes with just playing the game, guys. That's really all you need to do. Don't be afraid of losing rank. Don't be afraid of losing to a guard break cheeser. It's okay. Just play the dang game and you'll get better, guys. Guys, there are some mechanics I decided to leave out of here. I didn't want to leave any easy mechanics out, so if I forgot any like basic mechanics, please let me know down in the comments. But there's some advanced mechanics I wanted to keep to myself because, well, I'm using them to win, and you don't need the ones I'm using to get to S5 because I didn't use those to get that. So guys, I really hope this helped, and if it didn't, well, I'm sorry. I know most of you S5 players, you guys know this stuff, but I hope there's some stuff you didn't know in there. I hope you figured out some things you could do now. I know I forget about Team Awakening a lot, so this was a good reminder. I'm going to start using it more in my games. If this did help you, please leave a like. I really want to see all those D5s get up there in Bs and As. because I want some more people in higher ranks so we can get up past whatever S is. I really want to see what's past S. So guys, hey, thank you so much for watching. This video took a long ass time to make. See you later.